Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Heart Community of Mindful Living here at Dallas Meditation Center. Glad you could join us. It's already May. Today is May 2nd, 2021. Glad you could join us today. And if you're joining us live, please do check in the chat window on YouTube. And a little bit later on, we will have sharing and discussion on Zoom. And I will put the link in the chat a little bit later for that. But for now, if you're just joining us on Zoom, on YouTube, go ahead and check in and I will read those check-ins later. It's always nice to know that there's some other people on the other side of the camera. And if you're finding this later, either through a search on YouTube or a recommendation, welcome to you as well. Our practice is simple. We will be doing a guided meditation tonight. We have a special musical guest, our friend Gary Floyd. Jennifer will be doing the guided meditation, and then we also have another guest, Kelly Moyle, will be doing a talk for us. And co-facilitating with me are Bobby and Lisa, and I'm Cornell. Welcome. So just sit back and no expectations or no expectations that you need to put on yourself. Just enjoy this moment of being able to follow your breath and just sit back and enjoy. So if you know it, you can say along the opening affirmation along with Lisa.
Noble community, we gather here now to honor the way of peace and nonviolence, the way of wisdom and compassion, the way of joy and beauty. In solidarity with one another, with all humanity, and with all life on earth. Friends on the path, we gather here now to deepen our solidity like a mountain and to renew our freshness like a flower. Through mindful sitting and walking, mindful singing and breathing, and mindful speaking and listening. Family of awakening, we gather here now to celebrate the one infinite light that shines through many religions and many cultures, to cultivate the wisdom of our many teachers, both ancestral and contemporary, and to affirm the capacity within ourselves and all persons of every race, gender, orientation, and tradition to realize full and complete enlightenment.
Thank you, Lisa and Cornell. I'm so happy to know that you are there. You know, Thich Nhat Hanh has this saying, I know you are there and I'm so happy. So I hope you realize that that is absolutely true. So that we do know that you're there, I hope you'll join us later on Zoom after the talk. We have so many wonderful things to offer tonight, so I'm happy that you're here, and I will send it back to Cornell so he can tell me who is here.
Yes, well, I'm happy to introduce a longtime member of our community who's been providing music for us since way back when, I know for sure when we were at Unity on Forest back in about 2007, 2008, maybe before then while we were at Cathedral of Hope, maybe he was there. I don't remember, but he's been with our community for a long time, and even though he no longer is living here in Dallas, he's still part of our community. And so please do welcome our friend, Gary Floyd.
Thank you, Cornell. It already feels like home. I mean, we're like in different places tonight, but I feel like virtually on this Zoom call, we've kind of like gotten a little bit of a sense of home. Just hearing that, the invocation brought back a lot of good memories. This is a new song I wrote with my friend Jamie Lula. Oh, great spirit of love, freely, refusing none. O great Spirit of love, eternal goodness flows like a flood. Feel free to sing with me. I remember singing in our room together. It's O great Spirit of love, giving freely. Here we go. O great Spirit of love, giving freely, refusing none. O great Spirit, O great Spirit of love, eternal goodness flows like a flood. Love is all is love. Join us in singing the music of one in all in one. No greater blessing neath moon and sun. No greater blessing. O great Spirit, O great Spirit of love, giving freely, refusing none. O great Spirit of love, eternal goodness flows like a flood. Love is all is love. Join us in singing the music of one in all in one. No greater blessing neath moon and sun. Love is all is love. Love is all is love. Join us in singing the music of one in all in one. No greater blessing neath moon and sun. No greater blessing, O great Spirit, neath moon and sun. No greater blessing, no greater blessing.
Thank you, Gary. That was wonderful. And now we will say the contemplation before sitting, before we do our meditation. The Sangha is invited to go back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness brings us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, generate peace as one body, be free as one body. Let us transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex. We are aware that the happiness and suffering of all people is also our own happiness and suffering. We see ourselves in all people and all people in ourselves. We are one with those caught in situations of oppression. We are also one with the oppressors. We are one with the wise and good people who are present everywhere in the world. We are one with those who are able to embrace the whole of this world with their heart of love and their two arms of caring action. We are a people with enough peace, joy, and freedom to be able to offer fearlessness and the joy of life to living beings around us. We see that we are not alone. The love and the joy of great beings who are present in this world are supporting us, not allowing us to drown in despair, and showing us the way of understanding, compassion, and right action.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, dear friends, what a joy it is to come together this day and listen to beautiful music, hearing and being reminded that there are great beings that came before us that can guide us and lead us the way. Wow, it's really nice. And now we get to be still and let that soak in to the deepest part of us. And today, Kelly is going to be talking about how we handle our jitters, our anxieties. And in this meditation, we're going to be focusing on sensations in the body. And that literally is one of the most powerful ways of coping with anxiety, because we drop out of our brain and into our body, and that can shift our nervous system. And that coupled with our breath, and I'm sure that Kelly will get into all of that because she's also a body worker and yoga instructor and all of that. So we'll be getting more of that later. But for this meditation, go ahead and get yourself settled. You can be sitting in a chair or sitting on your mat. I would encourage you for this meditation to be sitting or standing. But if you need rest, by all means, you can do this laying down. So begin to allow yourself to find that comfortable position and start to feel the breath in your body, either through your nostrils as the air goes in and out of your nostrils, or in your chest, feeling your chest rise and fall, or in your ribs, your lower ribs as they move to the side of your body with the breath, or down into your belly. So pick the place that's your favorite and begin to bring your attention to the breath going in and out. As my teacher says, the body is the pillow for our mind to land on. So feel this breath in your body in one of those places. And as Cornell was mentioning, there's no need to strive, no need to work hard. Just allow yourself to be exactly as you are and gently curve your attention to that breath. Just allowing yourself to settle in to the quiet and to the stillness. Breathing in, breathing out. Relaxing the muscles in your face. Letting your brow be smooth. Your jaw unclenched. Maybe a little smile on your lips coming from the inside out. Letting your shoulders relax down. Nothing to grasp for, nothing to hold on to. Now I'd like you to bring your attention to the very crown of your head and see if you can feel or sense any sensation at the crown of your head, any tingling, tightness, contraction, expansion, goosebumps, just any kind of sensation. And as we go through this meditation, there's no right or wrong. You don't have to strive in any way. Just pay attention, and it can be ever so subtle. But just start to begin to see if you can sense or feel any type of sensation at the crown of your head. Sometimes we get the urge to touch it when we feel a sensation, so just see if you can keep your hands in your lap and just notice the sensation. As you breathe. And now bringing your attention to the space between your brows. Again, noticing if you can feel or sense tenseness, tightness, contraction, openness, tingling, expansion. Just notice if there's any sensation in between your brows. You don't have to change it in any way, we're just noticing. And now bringing your attention to your throat, noticing any sensation, tightness, tingling, contraction, narrowness, or expansion, openness. Sometimes we can feel something on the outside. Maybe you have a piece of jewelry that's laying on your throat. That's a sensation. Just noticing that. Maybe you can feel the air in the room on your throat. So it really includes any type of sensation. Breathing into your throat now, noticing the sensation. attention to your chest, the whole front side of your body, your chest. Noticing sensations there. Sometimes, again, we can feel jewelry or our clothes or something deeper inside. Maybe we can feel the beating of our heart or some tingling or tightness, some openness. Just noticing, breathing into your chest. Now bringing your attention to the part of your torso above your belly button. You may feel your ribs, your lower ribs moving out to the side as you breathe here. That's a sensation. You may feel some muscles, again clothing. Noticing any sensation that is in this area of the body. The front side of your body, right above your belly button, the whole solar plexus. Now bringing your attention to the area below your belly button, your stomach, intestines, lots of organs down there, right below the belly button. Noticing maybe again clothing or other sensations in the belly area, tingling tightness, jitters, calmness, expansion. And now bringing your attention to the bottom of the pelvic bowl, bottom of the bowl right at the end of the tailbone. Bottom of the torso. Now we're going to come up the back. So we're going to go to the lower back, right on the other side of the lower area underneath your belly button. But in the back now, in the lower back, noticing any sensation there. Come coming up the back to the mid-back, right opposite of the solar plexus in front. So your whole mid-back, there's some sensations there, tingling, tightening, contraction, or expansion, strength. Now bring your attention to the upper back, right behind the chest. Noticing the sensations in that area of the body. With a gentle awareness. And now the back of your neck, opposite the front of the throat, the back of the neck. Now lifting your awareness to the area at the back of your skull, behind your brows, behind that third eye, and the skull behind in the back. See if you can notice any sensations there. Now we're coming back up to the crown of the head, and we've created a little vessel. So what I'd like for you to do is breathe in through the crown of your head, down through the middle of your body, between the spaces that we've created. So between your brow and the back of your head, that space, and the space between your front throat and your neck, and your chest and your upper back, your solar plexus and your mid-back, and your tummy and your lower back. Breathe down into that vessel now. Nice long breaths all the way down to the pelvic bowl and out, back up through the vessel. Space that you've created, the in-between space. Enjoy the breathing there, and just let yourself allow whatever might want to manifest in your awareness as you breathe through the crown of your head down into the middle, through your body to the pelvic bowl, and then back out through the middle. Now allowing yourself to move away from the visualization and just breathing your whole body, head to toe, outside and inside. Just enjoying your breath now as we listen to Bobby sing the Brahma Viharas for us.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. Brahma Vihara Maitri. Brahma Vihara Karuna. Brahma Vihara Mudita. Brahma Vihara Upeksha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that lovely meditation. And now we'll chant the refuge chant to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And please feel free to join along with me if you know the words. We take refuge in the Buddha, the awakening heart of infinite light, that which shows us the way in this life. We take refuge in the Dharma, the awakening path of infinite light, the way of understanding and of love. We take refuge in the Sangha, the awakening community of infinite light, those who live in harmony and awareness.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that wonderful guided meditation. That's just what I needed tonight. And so I'd like to welcome those of you who have checked in the YouTube window, and you still have time to if you'd like to. We have quite a few people who've checked in. This is very nice to see you all here tonight. So Barbara bows in, grateful for technology, the Sangha, and the beautiful weather. Julie bowing in from the balcony up among the green giants. Angie and Alex bowing in from Northern California. Jane says hello. Jody bowing in with gratitude from Salina, Texas. Or do we say it's Salina in Texas? We might say it's Salina. Sandy says hello. Julie, thrilled to have Gary back with us and float away on his marvelous music. Absolutely. Tina bowing in. Michael bows into all. So really nice to see all of you checking in tonight. And I hope that many of you will come over a little bit later and share in the Zoom chat and talk to our guest speaker and our guest musician and share in community with each other. And that link will be up in the chat window on YouTube in a little bit. Lauren says, Lauren is bowing in from Garland and hopes all are enjoying this beautiful day. I definitely am. And so I'd like to welcome you also to help keep these gatherings going. These gatherings are supported by the community, and that community is me, and it is you. And it's been wonderful to be able to continue to bring these gatherings to you throughout this pandemic and throughout needing to be online. And I'd like to offer you the opportunity to give as well as receive. And you can find the place to share in Dana and generosity in the chat window, as well as in the description of this video. And it is, you can go online to dallasmeditationcenter.com/give, or you can pick up your cell phone and text the word mindful to the number 44321. And I know I'm chatting a while tonight. I'm just so happy to have so many guests with us tonight and make it feel like home. So as Barbara said, I'm really grateful for technology. And I was thinking of that when she typed that in, how I'm grateful for Google, I'm grateful for Zoom, grateful for YouTube, grateful for Facebook. These are all spiritual tools to us. And sometimes we kind of chuckle at that, but think about how you found the Sangha. Most of us found it by doing a search in Google or Yahoo or somewhere else. How did you know about this meeting? It probably came through email, or maybe you saw it on Facebook. And so these great spiritual tools, which have been a connecting, connecting, what do we want to call it, a rope, something that keeps us together during this pandemic, that we've been able to continue to meet. And this is one more way, or multiple ways, that we can support each other as friends on the path. So another blessing to me that the pandemic has brought is that we've been able to host some friends of ours who may not be in the immediate area now, or maybe they are. And either way, that we've been able to bring these guests to you, as well as partake in community with each other. So I would like to again welcome Gary back for another song, and just saying how much, like I said before, this really feels like home, having Gary with us. And tonight Kelly will be with us as well, and some of my longtime friends. And so Gary, could you do another song for us, please? Oh, and I may have just muted you instead of unmuted you, Gary.
We probably hit it about the same time. I sing this for Brother G. Singh, a good friend of mine. We wrote this song together. If you know it or remember it, sing it with me. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. He's singing with me. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. And together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation, no separation. We are one heart. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. And together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation, no separation. We are one heart. Even though it seems we are so far apart, and many times we're feeling all alone, the truth of who we are has been here from the start. We are one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. Together we can make a difference in our world. Every green and color, every boy and girl, all of creation, no separation. We are one heart, one life, one world, one mind, one heart, one life, one love. All of creation, no separation. We are one heart.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, Gary. That was lovely. Really, really brought back a lot of memories, which are nice, very nice memories. You know, there may be some people who are not, have not been with us long enough to remember Brother Chi Sing. He founded the meditation center, and I'm not going to go into the whole story because it's kind of a long story, but you might be interested to hear about it sometime. Anyway, he was a talented musician, and as Gary said, he and Gary wrote that song, and Brother Chi Sing wrote a lot of songs and chants, and I think some of them are on our website. So if you're interested, just check it out. So it's my pleasure now to introduce our speaker for tonight. Kelly Moyle is, she has many diverse talents and abilities. I know her as a very supportive Sangha member, and I also know that she takes beautiful photographs, mostly of nature. I also know that she has pet bunnies, which she loves very much. And I know that recently, maybe not so recently, but she trained as a nature guide. And that might not be the right title, because when we talked, she told me what the title was, but by the time I got ready to write about it, I had already forgotten. So maybe Kelly will remind us. And I'm so happy that you're here, Kelly, and I will pass to you.
Thank you so much, Bobby. First, I want to just say thank you so much for Gary for being with us today. Your music has certainly been part of my practice for quite some time, so it's truly an honor to just be able to share this time with you as well as with our Sangha. So, dear Thai, dear Sangha, good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for sharing this space, bringing your energy to our community today. If it's your first time, welcome. I hope you return many times. And to those of you that are new that may not know me, as Bobby had mentioned, I have been part of the Dallas meditation community for at least, I guess it's been going on 6 years now. So it's been a privilege and an honor to support this community and be a member of it. And I'm truly honored and blessed just to be here to share the space with you guys today and be able to just explore maybe some things that we're all sharing together. And Gary's song was perfect opening, that we are all one. And we have shared in so much together in this past year. And I also wanted to thank Jennifer for her beautiful guided meditation, because that also just segued perfect into what I was going to talk about today. And some of you may have read the description, as I just want to lay a little foundation first for us. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to either take a soft gaze with your eyes or close them completely. I'm just going to take a moment to invite the bell and just allow us a soft landing. So just focusing on our breath, listening to the bell. Just allowing the bell to resonate, opening your heart. So as the bell begins to fade, just allowing yourself to come back, opening your eyes. Just allow yourself to reorient with the room. And I just, again, wanted to start with a little foundation for us. We've all been through a whole lot in this past year, and it's probably been about a year since I was speaking to this community in this facet. And I just wanted to take a moment to first be thankful that we do have this technology and that we have had this opportunity to share and meet and support each other in this way during this time. But as we have all been having to respond, and why I wanted to have this talk today and share with you guys, of course, we've all had different experiences, but just laying that foundation that, you know, we have all been through an instant change. We were all asked, and more like demanded, immediately to shift our lives through enforced lockdowns, quarantine. We've even had lost ability to even purchase toilet paper for a time. Our normal social gatherings, our culture gatherings, anything, we were completely just cut off. Like overnight, our world shifted and changed. Every moment we were probably waiting for the next text on our phone or something on the news to tell us, well, where are we going to be tomorrow? And we don't know where we're going to be tomorrow. So we've had to face a lot of change in a very short frame of time, and a lot of adjusting, a lot of shifting immediately. And it wasn't something that we voluntarily had to say. It was more or less, this is the way it's going to be. This is what we have to do. And it was a life-threatening situation. So through this process, you know, all of our normal behavior that we normally would have done, maybe those normal things that would have brought rest and relaxation in our lives, we had to basically stop doing those things. Excuse me 1 second, I'm going to set a timer for myself since I get a little long-winded. So we basically had to give up everything. I mean, our normal life altogether just had to be set aside. And through that process, we were constantly on watch, constantly waiting. What's going to happen? Where are we? What can we do? What can't we do? And there was so much uncertainty again with, we didn't even know what tomorrow was going to bring. We didn't know when we were going to see family. We didn't know when we were at moments going to have toilet paper, for heaven's sakes. I mean, basic things in life. And then there was the overlooming of the fear of this virus that we knew nothing about. So I bring all of these up to, you know, not to say that none of us have been through it. We all know we've been here. We've been living in this for the past year. And what has it been doing for us? What has it been doing to us, more like it? How have we been able to cope through this past year? You know, because we've been on watch, we've been on waiting. Now we've had the vaccines and things have been shifting and changing. Things started opening up here in Texas. Obviously last month they decided to, actually earlier than that in March, where they started to open everything up again. So we're starting to see some kind of normalcy, but yet we're still on that wait and watch, right? We still need to wear masks. There's still a potential, even with a vaccine, that we'll get sick, or that we could pass it to others. And then there's the vaccine in general. We don't really know, because it's an emergency thing, what it really does, how long we need to take it, how long is it effective. So all of this to just kind of say, yet again, place that foundation. We are all in a mode of wait and watch. That low stress is always going to be there, or at least it has been for us for a very, very long time. So what I wanted to just stop and step back for a second is most of us are familiar with stress. Stress to some degree is normal in our lives, and we need that normalcy in order to be motivated, right? In order to take care of our usual things that we do every day. To get up, to eat, to take care of ourselves, to take care of our families, to go to work, to make a living and pay our bills. So a certain level of stress is normal, and that's great. But there's a point where that fight or flight response of that sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and that was really intended for us to protect ourselves, to survive by any means possible. The body starts shutting down your digestive system. It starts putting things on hold and shifts everything. And I read in a couple articles that there's like 1,400 different responses that happen to your body, from all the different hormones, all the different things that happen to your system in your body. Everything starts to shift so that you can focus your attention, your pulse rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your eyes start to dilate, your breathing shifts, it'll start getting more rapid. So all of these things, your muscles start tensing, all of this is to shift it so that we can focus on that threat and that we can respond to that threat. The intention for that was only temporary. The intention was for us to deal with that threat, either fight or flight from that threat. So it was all supposed to be just in that moment. And then once we move past that, then we were supposed to engage and get back to that calm, that rest. Our body goes back to processing, goes back into digestive state. All of those normal things start happening back to our body, starts processing again. But what have we been experiencing this past year? Maybe there's been moments of that. Maybe not. It all depends on how our bodies and our systems respond to it and how we are wired. And that's really what it gets down to. And so I'll talk a little bit more about those things in a minute. But just again, wanted to focus on when we first trigger that stress response. It's immediate. Most of the time, we're not even conscious of it. And we'll start seeing little things happening. And again, if that threat remains, which in our case it has, pretty much steady for the past year in some form, it's remained. And what happens is we adapt, because our bodies are awesome and they are so geared to do whatever they need to do to survive, because that is exactly what our body does. It protects us. It's intended to make us survive through anything, and even if it's into our own detriment. I love one of the examples is my dad had a block in his heart. And when they went in to do open heart surgery, they found out that the heart, this is again, is what our body does. It literally created a brand new channel around that block so that he could continue to move and pulse his heart. Even though there was a block there, the body took care of it. It did what it needed to do. And that's what our body does. It will do exactly what it needs to do, even if it's to our own detriment. And in this case, with stress and a constant amount of stress, we will adapt to that constant stress. So the adrenals will continue to produce that corticosteroids. It'll continue to release that, push those adrenalines, keep pushing it, and it'll keep cycling and keep us in that, we're in that watch and wait. So we continue to stay in that state. And as long as that adaptation continues and that threat is still there, our bodies are going to respond on some level. It's going to respond. And eventually what happens is we run out of that reserve. Our bodies can only handle that for so long because, again, it was only meant to be temporary. And then we get into that exhaustion state where we start having just fatigue and pain and all kinds of things that'll happen. So through the stress, obviously we can have high blood pressure, digestive issues I mentioned, autoimmune diseases, sleep disturbances. I can tell you just in looking at some of the stats online, and this was actually taken of July 2020 from 2019. In 2019, it was 1 out of 10 people had anxiety or depression. Just July 2020 last year. And just think about it. that was only March to July, it was that year, but it was only July. So we were still kind of at the start of all of this COVID stuff. We weren't really seeing the impact yet. But even at that point, it was 4 and 10. So it had already gone up 30% at that point. So there's no telling what it is now. After a whole nother year, I'm interested to see, but I know just talking to many folks in our community, as well as those that I work with, there's been that increase in anxiety, increase in depression. I've had a friend who lost his son to suicide. Just everybody having to just to adapt and try to function in this new world that we live in. So it's of vital importance. I think our practice is just a huge way for us to self-care. The concern that comes up as we go through these stages of stress, and so that exhaustion stage that I'm talking about, is your nervous system gets stuck. Basically, it gets stuck in that it can't get out of the sympathetic. It can't get out of that trigger. So you're in that constant fight or flight mode. You're just going around and going around and going around, and you can't get out of it. And your body doesn't know how to, because again, it is adapted and it's going to respond to try to help you survive. And as long as you still think there's a threat out there, you're going to continue to stay in that. And they've even done, I know I've seen some of sound therapy, where literally a certain frequency, they can engage in your body just by listening. You listen to that frequency and it'll bring you back down from that sympathetic, and you hit that parasympathetic. But if your body is so chronically stuck in that, you may touch in that parasympathetic and your body may acknowledge it, but guess what happens? You go right back into sympathetic again. So that's what happens when we get in this chronic state, is we just stay in that sympathetic. And even when we introduce, it can go down and touch into that parasympathetic, but it can go right back up again. So it's so important, especially now, to practice the self-care, to practice the mindfulness and all of these tools, and grateful for this community that we have every week, that we get this opportunity, as well as those other opportunities that we have during the week with some of our evening sanghas, that we can also practice meditation, and as well as our own practice, right? What kind of daily assessment are we doing for ourselves? So there is all of this, right? All this watch and wait, and yes, we're kind of, maybe many of us are in a chronic state right now, and maybe we don't know we are, because we've adapted so well that, hey, I feel fine, I'm good, right? And that's what happens to us, is we get into this state because we're so used to it that we've acclimated and acclimated and acclimated and acclimated, and now we don't even know where we are because we're so acclimated into it. This is just how we continue to happen and continue to live our daily lives. And the problem is stuff will start showing up. We can't sleep, we can't eat, or things aren't digesting right, or we start having pains in areas. We just aren't feeling good, and we wake up and feel like we didn't get any sleep at all. Those are those telltale signs that we've probably been in an exhaustion state, and we need to maybe take a little bit more time with ourselves and our self-care. So what can we do, right? We're in this situation, and some of it we obviously don't have control of, but what can we do? First of all, practicing honoring ourselves. Give ourselves compassion and acceptance for where we are in this moment and what's going on in this moment. Taking that time just to be with ourselves. And I want to thank Jennifer for giving that, the meditation that she gave, because that's one of the first things, is to connect with yourself. Really sit down and connect with yourself, whether that's through sitting meditation, sitting outside somewhere, taking that moment to connect with yourself. And she guided us through a wonderful process of scanning the body. And that's one of the ways, because our nervous system is basically, if you think about it, it's really just like our tentacles or our antenna. It's our senses. So our ears, our eyes, our mouth, all of those 5 senses that we have, basically we can connect with ourselves, but we can connect outward. So taking that time to connect with our bodies, taking that scan, Maybe closing our eyes. One of the things I love to do is taking my hand and placing one on my chest and one on my belly, because that immediately engages me. And just feeling my body and my breath. It also takes my mind off of wherever and brings it right back to my body, brings it back to my breath. So just taking a few minutes to breathe in and out is one of those ways we can engage that parasympathetic nervous system, bringing us back to that rest and relaxation response. And it also allows us to assess, where are we? How does our body feel? Because we hold stress in our bodies, and all of us have different ways that we hold it. We can hold it in our chest, in our legs, in our hips, in our throat. Lots of different areas all in our body that we could be holding that stress. And this is one of those opportunities to just connect and take that moment to just check in and notice what is wanting your attention. And taking your breath into those areas, just allowing it to wash and maybe soothe and open up and allow those areas to just unfold with your breath. And that simple practice, even every day or maybe certain times of the day, can immediately kind of bring you out. And it also begins to retrain your body, right? And that's kind of the intention, is how can we retrain our bodies to get back into engaging that parasympathetic, engaging that relaxation response. So even though we may be in this outside and things are so uncertain and we're having to shift constantly, if we can find that way to shift that sympathetic back into that parasympathetic, and then we're giving ourselves that restoration, we're giving ourselves that relaxation, we're stopping that cycle of being in that chronic state of fight or flight. So the more we can do that, the more that we can get ourselves out of that constant cycle. So we'll bring ourselves back into a balance. So with the breathing that I mentioned, hand on the heart and the belly, that's one way that you can disrupt that cycle. Because our nervous system basically is engaging with everything around us. And if all of this is too busy, if it's too stressful, or it's triggering, stop. Bring yourself back, close your eyes, maybe place that hand on the belly, hand on the chest. Bring yourself back in. Take that moment to just balance, just within yourself. Connect and just balance with yourself first. Then once you're feeling that, and I also, this is something Larry Ward had suggested in one of the talks that I listened to him, it's a cue for safety. What is your safety cue? What makes you feel safe? What makes you feel comfortable? What makes you feel at home? So taking a moment maybe to just connect back with yourself, bring everything in, just allow yourself to be in your little space. And then once you're feeling okay and you feel safe, then allow those tentacles to just expand back out. Opening your eyes, engaging with the room around you, feeling your feet in the floor, allowing your breath to engage with what's around you. And just relax and see too. Also, you're constantly taking things in. That's what the nervous system does. It's out there, just scanning through all of your senses, bringing everything back in. And immediately through our mindfulness practice is being in that present moment, right? And it's constantly, we are seeing, okay, how are we feeling right now? What are we thinking right now? And you can use that to see what is triggering me. Maybe you just saw somebody cut somebody off in traffic and starts triggering something, maybe from the past or maybe in that present moment. But you can feel, right, that tension coming up. You can feel maybe your breath starting to quicken. You can feel your blood and your circulation starting to go a little faster. That's that fight or flight. Even though you're not you're not threatened in that moment. They may not be, doing that to you, but you see it happen. So your safety feels like it's threatened. So immediately it'll kick in. And then once you go through that process and realize, okay, they've moved on, then you can return back. So being aware of you Being aware of your triggers is probably the most important. Knowing what is it that triggers you, because what triggers me is not going to be the same thing that triggers you. Everyone has their own triggers that trigger that fight or flight response. So engaging and being aware of our senses, allowing ourselves, if we need to pull back in, using our mindfulness practice with our breath, using the bell, using a mantra or a gatha. I love the gathas. It's something that we can do throughout the day. So if you're having a stressful moment, you can stop when you go to the bathroom. If I have a little sticky on my my mirror that I can read the gatha while I'm in the bathroom. And these are ways that, again, that we can increase that stopping the cycle, taking our mind out of something, especially if we're feeling triggered. Mindful movements are another way that you can, if you're feeling really overwhelmed and your body's just feeling really overwhelmed, is to do slow and gentle movements. Maybe just raising the shoulders, doing some circles with the upper body. There's lots of different mindful movements. Tai Chi is a form of that, as well as yoga. So those are a couple things as well. Alternate nostril breathing, which is more of a yogic practice rather than mindfulness, but it's using alternate nostrils. So you're basically breathing in one as you're plugging the other, and then closing it and exhaling out the other. Again, inhaling in, closing and opening and exhaling out. So this is another form of balancing both sides of the brain. So you're balancing the body, and again, you will balance that parasympathetic and sympathetic back to an even keel. If you want to do that practice, that's another form as well. And then walking in nature, as Bobby alluded to, I have a nature and forest therapy certified guide. If you're familiar with For the Forest bathing, or Shinrin Yoku is another name for it. It's practiced, started in Japan. So it has some tendencies to be a form of mindfulness practice, but it's using the senses in nature to connect on a deeper level with nature. And the beautiful thing that I always remember is Thich Nhat Hanh, and how much he always engages and enjoys his time with nature, whether it's sitting, whether it's walking. He's always engaging with nature, and he's always had that as a priority in his practice every day. And in my research, and as well as being a certified guide, nature automatically engages our parasympathetic, because when we step out in nature, we're not responsible, and we're not having to give anything immediate attention. We're just there. We just get to be there, like a guest almost, that you just walk out and get to see the animals and the plants, and they're just naturally doing their normal thing. And we get to just be there and watch it. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to, engage if we don't want to. We can just sit there and be fascinated with what's around us. And the other benefit of being in nature that has been scientifically proven is certain trees actually emit what they call photosides, that actually increase our immune system and decrease those stressful hormones in our bodies. So over time, as we spend more time in nature, it has that restorative effect for our bodies and our minds. And that's what's beautiful about it. And I spend most of my weekends, I can tell you, especially during COVID, I've spent probably close to 8 to 10 hours on my weekends out in nature. And that's how I've restored and come to relaxation and balanced myself. And I continue to do that practice, and it's been tremendously helpful for me. So again, just immediately being exposed to it automatically will bring us into that state. Another wonderful mindfulness practice that we do have as well is the deep relaxation, right? When we get to lay flat and have that guided practice, and it brings us down into that deeper sense within ourselves where we can fully let go and fully relax. And again, that's another relaxing, but also it's a very restorative practice. So I encourage you to engage in that as well. So just some highlights, you got to take some time for yourself to rest. Mindfulness, days of mindfulness are a beautiful way to do that. Use a Sunday, use even just a morning on your Sunday as a time of mindfulness, just to be present with what is, to take some time to just be with yourself. What is it that nourishes you? So taking that into aspect, and also assessing yourself, taking that time for yourself for what you need, but also monitoring your consumption. That fifth mindfulness training is a huge one right now. What are you spending time with? Are you taking in the news? How much are you taking in? Where are you spending your time at home? What are you finding, or maybe some of those triggers for you, or those cyclic patterns that maybe you're seeing? And this is all a matter of just observing and noticing, but also having compassion for yourself, because we are in this forced or pushed state right now, and we have been for a long time. And to just give ourselves that compassion and understanding and acceptance, to say, hey, you have been doing the best job that you possibly can in this situation, but also honoring and respecting yourself and what is it that you really need, and taking the time to do that, and being I want to just say disciplined about it, because this is something over time. The longer that we're in that chronic state and we're in that cycle, disease sets in, things start getting worse, and high blood pressure, autoimmune problems, other things start happening. And of course, our immunity definitely gets disrupted. And in a time of a virus, we don't have, that's not something we really want to happen either. So as I've, just to wrap up, as I've said, our bodies instinctually, they are built to survive, and they are beautiful and amazing. But they also need help from us right now. They need help in the fact that we need to help train it. We need to help it get out of a cycle if it's in that cycle. We need to help it rest. We need to help it relax. We need to help it restore, so that we can function and focus, but also live a healthier life right now than maybe we've been able to. And letting go of what's going on around us, and taking that time to pull in as we need to pull in, and give ourselves that stability that we can, and then allow ourselves to reach back out. So just remembering and honoring ourselves as well as those around us, because they're going through it as well. And if we have a bad day and we let somebody have it, to have that compassion for ourselves, because we're all in this process together, and we all truly are one, and having to ride this ship together. So please take your time, and know that your body is doing exactly what it needs, but it's our responsibility to train and teach it so that it can be healthier. But it won't know that unless we take the time with it. So it's been truly an honor, and thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you today. I hope it truly brings you some peace, and I wish you all the best, and may your practice be beneficial and beautiful to your life. Namaste.
Wow, thank you, Kelly. As you were talking, I began to realize that I'm more stressed than I knew. And also, it reminded me that Cornell and I are going to do a deep relaxation and touching the earth at the end of May, May 29th, in fact. And it's already, you can register online, it's already there. So that's one thing, that absolutely you can do to get yourself back into that parasympathetic mode. So yeah, thank you. And I look forward to seeing what everybody else wants to say as we go over to Zoom in a little bit. And I hope everybody will do that. Maybe tell us also, how do you stay stable and grounded? Kelly gave us some good ideas, and I know she would say that's not all you can do. So maybe you have something that you do that's particularly helpful to you. I'd love to hear about it. So before we go over to Zoom, we want to invite Gary to do another song. I think we're all looking forward to that. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Bobby. Oh, this is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much, all of you, for the reminders, Kelly, for just the reminder to stay connected to the breath, really. It's just, for me, it's just kind of a reminder to take a breath and get back into the present moment, and then take another breath and stay in the present moment. I love the analogy of training our bodies to, just to participate in being on this journey in this physical world together. So I can't wait until the time when I can come be with you in person and we can sit in the same room and feel each other's energies. Until that time, I'll leave you with this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, may good flow to you, and let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take your past and set it free. Share this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, may good flow to you, and let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you, peace enfold you, and spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, may good flow to you, and let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for that. And Kelly, thank you for your reminders too. And, love be with us all. And thank you, Kelly, for the reminders too, that, it's okay to feel how we're feeling. And, that the stress can come up and, we might not know it, but joining it together with all of you in this meeting, I think my stress level went out the window, meaning in a good way, it's out there. And as Bobby sometimes tells me, I'm welcome to go and pick it up when I walk by the window later, or I can just leave it sitting there. And tonight, I think I'm going to leave it sitting there. As Bobby mentioned, at the end of this month, May 29th, Bobby and I will be offering the Deep Relaxation and Touching the Earth program. And that is very popular. We haven't done it in a while, but we will be doing that online. And it's a great opportunity to give yourself that afternoon of rest, that day of mindfulness. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm home all the time during pandemic. I come to Sangha on Sundays. That's enough. Give yourself a little more time. Give yourself an afternoon. And although that's 4 weeks away and think, oh, I got plenty of time, I challenge you, when I get home tonight, I would love to see some signups for that by the time I get home. So go register. I put the link in the chat window, and that's to go to dallasmeditationcenter.com/bookstore. And for real, don't wait. Give yourself that little vacation and sign up for your vacation right now. So there's my sales talk for that. But it is a beautiful practice that the touching the earth is also an opportunity for you to embrace and be be gentle on yourselves for those, maybe those habit energies that are challenges for us. Be gentle with it and send our love and set that aside, and then embrace those habit energies that are good for us. And I welcome you to also check your email for the May newsletter. You should have gotten it yesterday. And if not, you can always go to the website and click on May newsletter. And it talks about some things we've done for the month, also some messages from people in our community. So with that, I know I've done a lot of chatting right now, so I'd like to welcome you. If you see it over in the chat window, there's a link for the Zoom meeting. Please do come and join us for sharing and discussion. And I'll ask Lisa if she would give us our closing bells, as well as our the vows of awakening beings.
Countless beings we vow to free, ceaseless afflictions we vow to end, limitless truth doors we vow to open, the deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize.
And thank you. Julie says, right back at you, Gary Floyd. And Steve says, that was beautiful. So beautiful seeing you all here. And I'm going to say goodbye to those of you on YouTube, and I'll see you soon, like in a couple of seconds over on Zoom. So please join us, and goodbye for the YouTube feed for now.